Hello YouTube. Just kind of wanted to give an update. I haven't made a video in quite some time. And I have some important news. You can see here I have a University of Chicago sweatshirt on. I got accepted to the University of Chicago to do my master's degree in religious studies at the Divinity School. So I've been pretty busy since I found out that news, kind of life-changing news to say the least. So that's why I haven't made a video in some time, because I was planning to make more videos going over those Arabic lessons, the Al-Medina series. And I also made a trip too. I went to Albany, New York, Allentown, Pennsylvania, and Atlantic City, New Jersey, and then I made a stop at Newark, New Jersey. I went to Chicago to visit my professors at the University of Chicago, shadow some classes there. So I was pretty busy with all of that. And I do plan to keep making videos for this YouTube channel, and might not be as often, might be more sparingly, because I'm going to be a student and I'm going to be really quite busy. I've been reading some books to get ready. This is Philosophy in the Islamic World. These are some books that my professors recommended to me. I'm also learning some Urdu. One of the main things that I liked about the University of Chicago is the fact that they had so many different languages. So I'm probably going to be taking, well, for sure Arabic and more than likely Persian classes at the University of Chicago. I might study Ottoman Turkish. It's possible I could study other languages too. I plan to be a professor eventually, so I do plan on getting my PhD after my master's. So languages is going to be very important for research, especially being able to read in those languages. I used to be a lot more interested in communication and conversation. As you can see earlier on with my videos. Now, as I'm getting more into an academic career, I definitely put my focus now on mostly being able to read. So reading comprehension and writing in my foreign languages. Here's another book, The Sufi Path of Knowledge. It's about the philosophy, or you could say theosophy, or thought, or however you want to call it, of Muhyiddin Ibn Arabi. This one is a history of Islamic societies from Lapidus, and he's a professor at Berkeley. And this book I highly recommend if this is something you're interested in. If you're interested in Islamic history or Middle East history, this book is really quite an encyclopedia. It's a very nice resource book. But yeah, anyways, I just kind of wanted to update you guys what's going on. I'm still kind of trying to comprehend it myself. The University of Chicago is a very prestigious school. It's considered one of the best schools in the world. I've seen some rankings where it's ranked number 3 in the United States, behind Princeton and Harvard, and it's tied in the 3rd place with Yale. So any ranking you pretty much look at, unless they're very, very biased, has the University of Chicago in the top 10. Even worldwide university rankings, usually the University of Chicago is in the top 10. The only one that doesn't list it in the top 10 that I've noticed, or doesn't really pay any attention to it at all, is Forbes. So I think there's some bias going on there. Something weird going on there. So I feel very honored, humbled to be accepted there, and they even gave me a scholarship, so it's a pretty big deal for me. And as many of you know, I live in Minnesota, so I'm planning, to be moving to Chicago over the summer, which is going to be, quite an ordeal to move me and my family all over there. And as many of you know, I have a lot of books, and for those of you who have a lot of books, it can be quite a fiasco to move all of those, because they're really quite heavy when you add them all up. And I've just been doing some reflecting lately on my, you could say, journey as a polyglot and journey as an academic. Just to give a little bit of an autobiography of myself for those of you who might not know me quite as well. As a kid, very young kid, I grew up speaking English, but I was exposed very early on to Norwegian because my great-grandparents spoke it fluently, and my grandmother, she speaks some Norwegian. Not only did she learn some of it from her parents, but she also, I believe, minored in Norwegian, or took quite a bit of Norwegian classes when she was in university at St. Olaf. I believe it was not St. Olaf University, but Augsburg University here in Minnesota. And she still has a bunch of books in Norwegian and on Norwegian, and to learn Norwegian when you visit her house. She's got many things in Norwegian, as you've probably seen in my YouTube video about my Norwegian heritage. So that was always something, part of my life. I was always very fascinated by the idea or the concept of people speaking another language. And then I also had family in Germany on my dad's side who would come and visit, and so I grew up with that element as well. And when I was around 12, 13 years old, I started to teach myself German, and fell in love with the language. Also fell in love with German music, like the band Rammstein and many others, and realized, hey, I'm kind of good at this language thing. Maybe I should try learning another one. So I wasn't too interested in like the Spanish language, which is pretty dominant in most American schools. So the other option was French, and I studied French for like about a month, and thought it was easy. I'm like, man, I need something more of a challenge. I want something that's different, like something that's not an Indo-European language. And so I started learning Chinese, and then I ended up taking I think it was a year or two of Chinese in college. And I also started learning some Swahili. I just kind of fell in love with learning languages, and a lot of it did have to do with the polyglot community on YouTube. Of course, this was back in 2009, 2010, so this was a little bit of a while ago. And it's changed quite a bit now, but I just want to give some special thanks to some of those, you could say, early founding figures or people in the YouTube polyglot community. Moses McCormick, Lao Shu, he definitely had an influence on me. Me and him used to message each other and talk a lot. And he's one of the reasons I became Muslim. He's one of the influencers in my life. I remember watching a video of him where he had this Quran in Chinese, and I said, Quran, that's the Muslim book. This guy is Muslim, but he's like one of the nicest guys I've ever talked to. So that got me interested in Islam. And, you know, being part of the Polyglot project was an honor, doing that with Syzygy. Seems like he's deleted his YouTube now, which is too bad, because I really quite enjoyed his videos. His name was Claude, and just a really awesome guy. And Floki, definitely, I used to like watching, consider a friend. And Dr. Peter Brown, he used to mentor me a lot. We used to message each other, and he sent me some books, and very grateful for that. Very grateful for that. So I had some people steering me in the right directions, and ended up getting my bachelor's degree in linguistics from St. Cloud State University. So language became an academic thing for me, and my intention was to teach ESL, English as a Second Language, especially overseas. And I did apply for a lot of jobs, but the market had changed quite significantly by the time I had graduated. When I started school and decided to pursue that as a career, the market was very different than it is now. And then when I graduated, the market had changed so much that it wasn't an avenue I wanted to pursue anymore. Used to be that if you just got a degree in English or linguistics or to teach English, you could get a really good paying job overseas fairly instantly. You know, some people were starting out at $70,000 a year and getting a house and car provided for them. And then by the time I graduated, they had regulated the market so much in many countries that they wanted you to have a CELTA certificate or some sort of English teaching certificate, which, you know, cost thousands of dollars. The class took months, like 6 months or 1 month full time. You know, things that are very impossible for people to really do. And most of the people that went overseas had fake ones. They also tried to ask for like 3 years of teaching experience and things like that. And I had gotten my degree specifically catered to go to the Middle East and teach English right off the bat. So it was an actual degree in teaching English as a second language. So it was major in linguistics with a minor in education, totally catered for that specific thing. But they had changed the laws in many of those countries, so that no longer really became an option for me, a very viable option. And the pay had significantly decreased for expatriates going over there to teach English. So, you know, it is what it is. So for me, it was never going to be a lifelong pursuit. I always knew that I wanted to go to graduate school and eventually become a professor. So I just decided, hey, I'm going to apply for graduate school and just get it over with. And so that's what I did. And I got accepted to the University of Chicago. It was the only school I applied to, so I'm very happy that I got in. And I'm very excited for this new chapter in my life. And I'm also a bit, you could say, anxious, just because you know, it's hard to predict everything that's coming. It's all going to be new and different. Moving to you know, the third biggest city in the United States, it's going to be kind of a shock. You know, I'm originally from Twin Cities, so I'm used to the city life. But, you know, I've been living in small and kind of medium-sized towns also, so, you know, not quite so used to the big city. And Chicago, it seems, is it's kind of hard to get around very efficiently by car because there's so much traffic. You know, it's like you want to go from Chicago to the suburbs, it's going to take you at least like an hour just because of traffic, or 45 minutes to an hour just to get out of the city of Chicago into the suburbs, because you're bumper to bumper for so long. And I experienced that firsthand. I've been to Chicago, you know, maybe 6 or 7 different times. So it's quite a fiasco. So I'm going to be moving to Hyde Park, you know, and attending university classes pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited for that, and I'll keep you guys, you know, updated on, you know, what textbooks I might be using for the language classes there, and maybe some of the things I'm doing there, as well as keep trying to do Arabic lessons, because I feel myself that by teaching a language, by doing Arabic lessons, or I've done some German lessons, some Chinese lessons, that it helps me learn the material better, as well as helping other people. So not only do other people get to benefit from it, but I myself learn the language better by teaching it. And you know, I've heard many other people say that they have the same experience, that teaching it helps them quite a bit as well. Seem to be rambling quite a bit now, so I'll kind of wrap this up. But I just want to say thanks for watching. Thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for all the people who click my ads and generate revenue for me. Please do subscribe, please do like, please do comment. Feel free to message me. You know, I have a Facebook page, which is linked on my YouTube, or you can just search on Facebook pages, you know, Hamza the Linguist. I'm more than happy to message you if you want to message on Facebook. You know, I'm very happy to give advice or to help anybody with anything, or just to chat. But I am in the process of packing all my things and moving, so I'm, you know, a little bit busy, but I try to get back to people as soon as I can. So thank you for watching.